This is Wellness Unlocked, your space for smart, honest conversations about what it really takes to feel your best.
We're your hosts, Sally and Maha, founders of a global wellness brand. And every single episode, we're going to bring you forward thinkers and innovators from the wellness world, those who can help you unpack best in wellness tips.
If you're ready to upgrade your life, then you're in the right place.
Hey guys, it's Sal. I'm doing a solo ep, and this is one of the ones that you guys have asked me the most for pretty much all year. This is a manifestation and goal setting ep solely around this topic. Every time I talk about how I do it and what I do, there's a flood of questions. So I felt like rather than kind of answering them half-heartedly, a little bit here, a little bit there, I would go through my whole process with you. Before we get into it, I would say to you that this is the thing I think that has probably transformed my life the most. It's so significant and so enormous, and I use it. It's not sort of for me a January 1 thing that I do. It's actually an everyday thing that I live and breathe and do, and the results and the outcome is so astronomical that I think if you don't do it, you could look at somebody who's saying, oh, I do this and then I get this, as a bit either woo-woo or a bit like eye-rolly, which sometimes I feel as well. But I want to walk through with you the process and what I do and how I do it. And as always, if you've got questions, after the app, be sure to, put them in there. I will add as much info into the show notes as I can. All right, let's get into it. So manifestation goal setting basically for me is very much second nature in my life. So before I show you, and I actually bought for you for this app, for anybody who's watching, I actually bought you my book. So I have this one book and I use it all the time and it's the same book. So before we get into the mechanics and the nuts and bolts of what I write, think, do, I wanted to run through with you kind of how you would start this process if you're wanting to start. So the first, I think, really important thing is you have to be honest with yourself. That's the only place to begin. If you're not honest, then you don't have a great starting point. So the first thing I think I really do is ask, what is it that I truly want? Not what should I want, not what does everybody else have that I should also have because that's kind of what society dictates. No, truly, truly me, what do I want? And at times in my life when I've worked out what that is, it's very against the grain of what everyone's doing. It's very not the norm, so to speak. It's not right in inverted commas. So, but that doesn't matter. It's always about what is it that I truly want. And then I ask myself, if no one was judging me, what would I go after? What's the thing that I, again, want? And then having to think about what's the thing that I want that if it didn't feel too big, I would ask for, because so often I feel like we actually play small, or it seems the goals, you just sort of talk yourself out of your goals, like, oh no, that's too hard, or oh, if it was possible, everyone would do it, or you just always have, I think, self-limiting beliefs. We all have them. I still have them. I work through them all the time, and I'll talk to you a little bit more as the app goes on about what they are, and they have varied as I've gotten older and they've changed. There are some that are still with me that I am still working through. So it's certainly not a set and forget process. And then I start to think about sort of my identity. It's like, what does the future me, future Sally, want? What habits does she have? What does she no longer tolerate? Like what kind of boundaries does she, protect? And I think about sort of that. So first it's like, what do I want? Then I think about future me. So they're the first kind of two things. And then those limiting beliefs. What are the limiting beliefs that I have? And sometimes you have to dig a little deep. Sometimes you might not be sure what they are, or you might be like, I don't really have any. But if you don't have any, I suspect you probably do, but you just don't know what they are, because we all have them. We absolutely all have them, and it's okay to have them. The key is just to know what they are so that you're aware of them, because awareness is everything. And then when you hear those limiting beliefs, whose voice is that? Is that actually me, or is that actually a parent? Is that, child me? Like, who is that voice, that you're hearing? And then ask yourself, where do I stop myself before things get really good? Because we all usually have a point at which we stop ourselves because that's tied to our limiting belief. Sometimes we feel like we're not worthy, or sometimes we feel like there'll be a consequence, or sometimes we feel like there's a payoff. So there's something often there for us that stops us from really going all in. So awareness and knowing those things, I think, is really number one. I also have found that even if you're not a journaler, in this process, writing down stuff is helpful. It doesn't have to be long and laborious, and you're not writing an essay. And remember, no one's going to see it. It can be bullet points. It can be really light. But it's more when you write things down, such clarity comes from it. I think you can think a lot of stuff in your head, but you can tend to go around and round in circles. When you've written something down, like I have a limiting belief that I'll never meet the right person because I'm too old, for example. Okay, you've written that down. That's a limiting belief. But then in your head, that thought can keep spiraling. It's like, yeah, we've got that one. That's what else? The more you can, in a way, purge onto paper, I think the healthier it is, because then you know what you're dealing with. All right, why don't I show you my book? So this is another piece of advice I would give you. If you're wanting to do manifestations or goal setting, like in a way that really you want to achieve them, I write them down. And then secondly, I use this same book every year. And the reason I do it is I can open it up and I can see here, for example, and I just cover up some of my goals, so you don't have to see, but this is like 2021. So for those who are like watching, you'll see the video. So this is my book and it's got my 2021 goals. That's because I'd already filled my previous book. And so as I roll into 2026, I can have a look at all the pages that I've done in the years prior. And I can look back and go, oh my God, I've had this same goal since 2021. I repeated it in, 22, 3, 4, 5. I still haven't achieved it. And whilst it's absolutely fine if you haven't achieved it, some goals take years and years. But every year that you have the same goal, it allows you to keep digging deeper and understanding yourself better and going, how is it that I've had this same goal for 5 years and I haven't either made any progress, or I haven't gotten as far along as I've wanted to, or haven't achieved it? And then the more you understand who you are, and maybe the goal doesn't apply anymore, that's fine. Maybe it's irrelevant. But if you still want it, why haven't you gotten it? And so therefore you can, when things are black and white, literally they're on paper, in a way there's no running away from it. So that's what makes it really effective. Finance are spewing with you. They actually want to speak to you about your corporate card.
Yeah, I love my corporate card.
No,
Why
you
would
cannot,
they be so upset?
You cannot use it to go to Priceline, right, and just tap and buy all the Swish. No, you cannot buy
I do.
You can get Swish. These guys can get Swish at Priceline.
Me too, I can.
Yes, you can too, but with your personal card. You cannot use your corporate card and tap, 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 tap everywhere you go.
Yes, I can go to 500 Priceline stores and I can tap, tap, tap at all of them with my credit card and my Sister Club card. I'm a Pink Diamond member.
500 Priceline stores. You can get Swish at any of them.
That's right. Pretty impressive.
Okay, get something for me next time.
I will.
So what are the 3 things that I do for my skincare that are non-negotiable? Collagen, obviously. I use the Swish Glow collagen. I add it into my coffee. It's flavorless. It's really easy for me to add in. On the outside, I do facials at Chakra Skin in Sydney. And then 3 nights a week, I use a red light face mask. It's so relaxing because I get into bed, put the red light face mask on. I use the Bond Charge one. And it is a really great way to help boost collagen rejuvenation in my skin. So whenever anybody asks me, which red light mask do you use? I always let them know. It's the Bond Charge one. Okay, so the first thing before I start going, here's what I want to manifest, first I do a brain dump of the year that I've had. So we're now at the end of 2025. Before I launch into 2026, I literally do a brain dump, and it's literally just everything that I can think, and I specifically divide it up by first I start with what didn't work. What did not work this year? Everything, personal, family, money, relationships, how I feel, work, anything. Literally anything that didn't work that I was not happy with, I first dump that down here in any kind of, it doesn't have to be perfect. Then I write down what did work. Okay, what stuff worked this year. And I really leave this for a few days because quite often I'll write down what didn't work. Then I'll go away and I'll be like, oh, I forgot about that other stuff. Oh, this other stuff. And the more you can put down what didn't work and what you didn't like, and also what you did like, the more you can come back and refine what it is you want for yourself for the following year. Then the second part is, what is the vision for myself as I go into this? I'm calling it New Year, but quite honestly, you can do goal setting and manifesting at any point. Do not wait for January 1. You do not need a new year. You can reset and do this at any point. It is your life. Every day that you wake up, that is a new day that you can do this process. Do not wait for these artificial days. They mean nothing. So then I write, what is the vision for myself this year? And it's how I see myself. It's like, what is the dream life that I want to live? And what I think is so funny about this, whenever I do it, often if you say to someone, what's your dream life? They'll say things to you about holidays and yachts and, fancy travel and blah, blah, blah. And there may be an element of that, but really what I'm writing when I do this is my day to day. I haven't mysteriously imagined that I've won the lottery and I'm never going to work again and I don't have to make lunch boxes and school pickup. It's like, what's the vision for myself within reality, but an elevated reality? Like, what do I want? How do I want my everyday to be? And how do I want to feel? I think it's really important to think about how you want to feel, because how you want to feel will dictate your actions. So once I kind of pop that down, what is it that I want for myself? I then break it down really specifically kind of by category. I'm going to show you, for example, what I would do for this year. I start like this, 2026. So remember, I've already dumped what didn't work and what did work. Here's the new year. And then I start writing me. What are the big things that I want for me, how I will feel? Specifically, this is generally like in my body, like it's like a look and feel situation. Family. What is it that I want with my family? Relationships. This is usually external to my marriage. So relationships, it's like me as a friend, me as a sister, me as a, colleague, whatever. Marriage, if there's something here. Work. Money. What's my other one? So, and I usually just, home. Home life is really important. And the reason I separate home from families, because families usually for me, I've got 2 kids. So it's like, support, Annabelle in her blah, blah, blah pursuits, or I want to start building a new tradition with Alyssa or whatever that might be. Home is more technical. I don't want to do grocery shopping anymore on Saturdays because I end up spending the whole day grocery shopping and it's a waste of precious family time. And so instead, I want to change how my routine works or whatever. It's like the mundane, but the more you can sort the mundane, the more there's room for the joy, if that makes sense. So these are just bullet points, stuff that I want. Then I start to now get into the nitty gritty. I then take each of these categories and on a fresh page, I go. I'm like, right, what is it that I want? Let's go. It's work. What revenue goals do I want to hit? What, for us, we're SWIISH, we're a wellness brand. So we're online, we're in stores. So in Australia, we're in Priceline. This year specifically, we were launching into the UK. I had goals very much around retail partnerships and going into bricks and mortar and going into online in the UK. So they were my goals. Okay, which places do I want to go to? Why do I want to go there? How will I feel when I walk in and see our brand that we've built for a decade, and I picture it on the shelf and I picture myself picking up the package, and then I picture myself almost in the third person, like I'm in the store, but I watch somebody else come in and pick up like a box of super green sachets, and that feeling, that giddiness that I get in my stomach, that's the feeling that I transfer to the paper, because then every time I look at this goal, I will feel that. These are my 2024 goals that I had for SWIISH. So I had here a revenue goal for Priceline. I had a revenue goal for the business. I talked about being everywhere, specifically events, and how I wanted that to look, feel, and turn up. What I wanted with the team, how I wanted the work experience to be like. I spoke here about like family life, what I wanted our family life to feel like, and the dynamics that I wanted to see shift, and the rituals and routines that I wanted. I literally put it all down. And once I put it down, and I think this is the thing that people go wrong with, they're either not specific enough or they're very specific. They do this exercise and then they put this away and they literally never look at it again. And that's where it goes wrong. You have to look at this all the time. So let me answer your questions because now we can get into like what to do. So question one, and this is around goals and mindset. So how do you choose which goals actually matter? It's up to you. Literally, if it sets your heart on fire, then it matters. And if you're not sure, stress test it. Like for example, let's just say you set a goal, you're not sure, should I get an investment apartment? And you're like, yeah. Should I travel to Italy? Should I have a gap year? Like that feeling, then it's like, okay, that's a goal I want. That's how you should decide. Question is, do you ever set goals that you don't achieve and how do you deal with that? Yeah, all the time. I quite often will have a goal that I just don't make or will take me years. And I'm a chronic underestimator. That's one of my worst qualities. I'm like, okay, this huge goal, this will only take us 1 year. And Maha's like, it'll take 5. And guess what? She overestimates and I underestimate, and maybe it's somewhere in the middle and it's 3 years. But the thing that happens is it's on my radar. I'm still working on it. It's still very much a part of the process. Also, when you write your goals, you then are aware because you have to do the next step. It's not just writing them and then sitting around at home and waiting for Santa to drop off your goal for you. Like there's no fairy. No one is coming to save you. I will guarantee you that. No one is coming to make your life amazing. It is 100% your responsibility. So after you've decided what you want, the next thing is action. You actually have to do stuff, aligned action, but your action has to match the goal you want. That's how it works. It's also telling the universe, hey, this is the thing I'm after. This is what I'm going for. All of us are connected. I'm a big believer in that. So often I'll think of something and I'm like, I really want the universe to connect me with somebody who could, something. And like 2 weeks later, someone will be like, I just was talking about you. And I'm like, no way. I'll come in easily once a week and I'll go to Maha, you won't believe what just happened. And you know what I do every time that happens? I have this like paper cup, like an old coffee cup on my desk, and it's called an evidence jar. And every time something happens that I had manifested, I put it in there. And just on a Post-it note, I stick it in because whenever you start to want something and you feel like you're working towards it and it's not getting somewhere, that's when you tend to go, oh, it's just not going to be. But I have the evidence jar and it reminds me, and I open it and I look at it and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember I manifested all these things. You know what? I'm just going to keep going. Yeah, so therefore, yes, I do have goals that sometimes take so much longer to achieve. And sometimes they're really simple goals and they still take a long time to achieve. And that's okay because part of, I think, the process is having the consistency to keep showing up for the goal that you want. What goal took you the longest to manifest or achieve? I think probably getting into TV was probably the goal that took me the longest, and it was the one that on paper made the least sense. I was 30. I had no experience in television. I had no networks, no connection, nothing. I had nothing that would make any sense for why I would end up on a major network as an entertainment reporter. It was the thing I wanted more than anything and the thing I worked towards for many years. It took me 5 years to do it, but I got there. So definitely that. what is your process for resetting when a goal no longer feels aligned? Oh, it's easy. I get this and I go, fuck it, that's it. I'm not aligned with that goal. I don't want that anymore. And that happens all the time. Don't agonize. Cross it out, move on. Fresh goal. So the question is, do you have a manifestation ritual or practice? Really only the biggest one is I look at this book all the time, all the time. I also have a notes thing here in my phone. I'm going to try and cover this so you can't see because I've already ticked some of these off, but I haven't shared them. So these are my 2025 goals, and I keep this in my phone and I open it all the time because I think you have to remember what you're doing. Think of it like if I said to you, can you go for a 10K run along this particular route, follow this particular path, and you had no map, well, you wouldn't know where you're going. You'd start running, and after a while you'd be like, what direction was I going? That's why you need to keep the list. That's why you have to write it down. That's why you have to refer to it, because you need a map. So the question I got was, what's the biggest sign you've ever received? I don't know if I've ever had like one sign. I do have a personal thing that I look for. I don't know if I should say it. I don't know if it's weird, but I have this one thing so it's two parts this. I try not to ask the universe for signs all the time, like, oh, if I'm on the right track, show me a, pink butterfly or whatever. That's not my thing. But like, for example, I try not to ask them too much because I find then I am not building up my own self-belief, right? It's like I've made the list. I'm doing the aligned action, stay the course. If you're constantly looking for proof that you're on the right track, you just get distracted. Stay the course, stay the course. Having said that, occasionally when I really am like on the brink, I'm like, oh my God, I will ask for a sign. And I'll be like, if I'm on the right path, and usually sometimes it's because I feel the pressure. This is generally a work sign that I will ask for, and I feel the pressure with the business, and specifically I think I feel it because you guys obviously know Maha and I run the business together, and I am I tend to sort of there'll be things that I want us to do and I can be quite pushy, and sometimes she might not want to do them or might not feel they're ready. And then I will be like, no, we have to, we should, we do, blah, blah, blah. And so then I feel a lot of burden of, have I done the right thing? Am I doing wrong by her? I also it's obviously also complicated because Marcus and I are married, but also he works with us. So I also feel like it's this, and I will also do the same with him. No, we have to do this. This is what we have to do, rah, rah. So I feel like there's this, I worry that I'm going to let them down and that I will have pushed everyone down a path that's incorrect. And so I worry. And so sometimes when the thing hasn't manifested and I'm pushing everyone on a train with no result, I will occasionally be like, oh, universe, please, can you show me a sign? I feel in my heart of hearts, this is the right thing to do, but I need you to show me, and I'll ask for this particular thing. And it happens. And it happens. And what's always so crazy about it is I'll see this thing so truly out of context. It'd be like if I said, show me a pink butterfly now, and a butterfly came in, it's so out of context. And that's why I ask for it. And that's why I only do it occasionally, when I'm really starting to question if I've done wrong by everyone. Probably twice a year. So not often, because I think you have to build your inner strength. That is on you to build. And the thing is the more you build it, the less you'll need the proof, because you just know that if you, two things, continue with your aligned action, stay the course, and keep doing the things, right? I see getting to a goal if I was here and I wanted to get to the other side of a lake, but there was no bridge, right? So I don't know how I'm going to get there. So I see a little lily pad. So I go, okay, great. I'll jump from here to here and I'll stand on that lily pad while I work out where the next lily pad is, and then I'll go from there. And then I'd go to that next one. And then when I get there, I'm like, okay, ooh, I could go to the next lily pad, but I'm have to, like that's how I get to my goals. But if I'm standing on the side waiting for a bridge to appear, it's probably never going to turn up, right? So you have to do the little, that's how I get to everything. I go, can I work out the next step? Great, I do that bit. And then I go from there, so that's the aligned action that takes you towards your goal, but it's not one immediate step. Okay, this I love. What role does gratitude play in your manifestation process? And this is massive. I'm very big on gratitude, like very big, and not in a, I don't know which kind of way, like just I'm very big on it. So I've had this for a long time and probably since I was sick with cancer. My first thought when I wake up is thank you for letting me live to see another day. My last thought at night is thank you for letting me live to see another day. I'm deeply, deeply aware how every day somebody will wake up, they'll think it's another day. They'll, I always say they make their toast, they drink their coffee, they, kiss their loved ones goodbye. They say, see you tonight, and then they get hit by a bus. Or somebody will find out that they actually have something terminal, or like just your days aren't guaranteed. And so I have a lot of gratitude for little things, and I find a lot of joy in little things. Like I love going to get a coffee. I like talking to the barista. I just have a lot of happiness for small things. Because life is really just a combination of small things. That's really all it is. It's really all it is. And when you get to the end, I think it's so funny, I was reading this thing how like everyone has a bucket list. Like people have bucket lists, like, oh, the bucket list is always about generally travel. Like I want to go here and see this and whatever. That's all valid. But if you truly think it's the end, the only thing you will care about, it won't be the trips you didn't take, it's the people that you love. And did you have enough time with them, and did you spend it with them, and how much you love them and how much you're going to miss them. And I can tell you that for certain, And so gratitude is really important. So it's like the manifesting is I think it's okay to want stuff. I think that's another thing people find really challenging. It's like, I think maybe also women specifically find it challenging to want things because ambition has somehow become a dirty word. You can't be too ambitious because it means you're not a nice person and, that kind of stuff. It's like you can be ambitious and grateful. You can, and part of wanting something is being dissatisfied with the thing you have. And that's okay. You can be dissatisfied and grateful. They can both exist. Yeah, so I do think gratitude is really important. You should work out how that works for you, because being grateful for what you have while wanting something else more better is also great. It's fine. That's probably all your big questions. If you have never done this, I highly encourage you to give it a go. This is a $3 book I bought 5 years ago. It will last me another 5 years. It's the cheapest investment you'll ever make in yourself because it literally costs you nothing. This is the thing I think that's so wild. People are like, oh, I don't do any goal setting. I can't be bothered or whatever. I'm like, that's so crazy. It's your life. It's literally every day. The days are ticking by. It says your life. You should go for it. And it will cost you like nothing. It's a book and going for your dreams, everything that I've created is just something that I've decided I wanted and then I went for it. This year, 2025 has reminded me more than ever, like the power that we have in manifesting our goals. Launching into Boots was something that was on my list from 2 years ago. It's been on my list for 2 years. Like, I want us to move into the UK. When we go to the UK, I want to go to Boots. And last year I became aware of health and I was like, I want to go to health. These are the 2 partners I want for us. I was like, 2025 is the year we're going to do it. We went in May. We basically were accepted in like June. It was either June or July. It was so fast. But that's because we did the work. We did the manifesting. We did the aligned action. Like, if we can do that, you can do anything.
If you enjoyed this episode, then make sure you subscribe, like, download, share, all the things.
All of the things. And of course, everything you need to know is in the show notes. If you need any more information, don't hesitate to find us at swiish.com. And as always, all the information provided is general information and not medical advice.